Welcome. Today we will read Lesson 57 from the workbook, and from the text we will read Chapter 6, Section 5, The Lessons of the Holy Spirit, paragraphs 1 through 4. And now for Lesson 57. Today, let us review these ideas. 31. I am not the victim of the world I see. How can I be the victim of a world that can be completely undone if I so choose? My chains are loosened. I can drop them off merely by desiring to do so. The prison door is open. I can leave simply by walking out. Nothing holds me in this world. Only my wish to stay keeps me a prisoner. I would give up my insane wishes and walk into the sunlight at last. "32. I have invented the world I see. I made up the prison in which I see myself. All I need do is recognize this, and I am free. I have deluded myself into believing it is possible to imprison the Son of God. I was bitterly mistaken in this belief, which I no longer want. The Son of God must be forever free. He is as God created him, and not what I would make of him. He is where God would have him be, and not where I thought to hold him prisoner. 33. There is another way of looking at the world. Since the purpose of the world is not the one I ascribed to it, there must be another way of looking at it. I see everything upside down, and my thoughts are the opposite of truth. I see the world as a prison for God's Son. It must be then that the world is really a place where he can be set free. I would look upon the world as it is, and see it as a place where the Son of God finds his freedom. "34. I could see peace instead of this. When I see the world as a place of freedom, I realize that it reflects the laws of God instead of the rules I made up for it to obey. I will understand that peace, not war, abides in it. And I will perceive that peace also abides in the hearts of all who share this place with me. 35. My mind is part of God's. I am very holy. As I share the peace of the world with my brothers, I begin to understand that this peace comes from deep within myself. The world I look upon has taken on the light of my forgiveness and shines forgiveness back at me. In this light, I begin to see what my illusions about myself kept hidden. I begin to understand the holiness of all living things, including myself, and their oneness with me. In this lesson, we are told that one cannot be victimized by the world one sees because one has made it, and thus one can choose to see it differently. One could see this world not as one which imprisons with lack and limitations, but as a world that frees with unlimited love and joy. In this newly chosen world, peace, not war, abides in it. It is a peace that is lit in the hearts of all who join together in it. In this one light, one becomes aware of the unity and the innocence of all living things. And now for our text reading for today, from chapter 6, section 5, the lessons of the Holy Spirit, paragraphs 1 through 4. Like any good teacher, the Holy Spirit knows more than you do now, but he teaches only to make you equal with him. You had already taught yourself wrongly, having believed what was not true. You did not believe in your own perfection. Would God teach you that you had made a split mind when he knows your mind only as whole? What God does know is that his communication channels are not open to him, so that he cannot impart his joy and know that his children are wholly joyous. Giving his joy is an ongoing process, not in time, but in eternity. God's extending outward, though not his completeness, is blocked when the sonship does not communicate with him as one. So he thought, my children sleep and must be awakened. How can you wake children in a more kindly way than by a gentle voice that will not frighten them, but will merely remind them that the night is over and the light has come? You do not inform them that the nightmares that frighten them so badly are not real, because children believe in magic. You merely reassure them that they are safe now. Then you train them to recognize the difference between sleeping and waking, so they will understand they need not be afraid of dreams. And so when bad dreams come, they will themselves call on the light to dispel them. A wise teacher teaches through approach, not avoidance. He does not emphasize what you must avoid to escape from harm, but what you need to learn to have joy. Consider the fear and confusion a child would experience if he were told, "Do not do this because it will hurt you and make you unsafe." But if you do that instead, you will escape from harm and be safe, and then you will not be afraid. It is surely better to use only 3 words. Do only that. This simple statement is perfectly clear, easily understood, and very easily remembered. The Holy Spirit never itemizes errors because he does not frighten children. And those who lack wisdom are children. Yet he always answers their call, and his dependability makes them more certain. Children do confuse fantasy and reality, and they are frightened because they do not recognize the difference. The Holy Spirit makes no distinction among dreams. He merely shines them away. His light is always the call to awaken whatever you have been dreaming. Nothing lasting lies in dreams, and the Holy Spirit, shining with the light from God Himself, speaks only for what lasts forever. In this first part of the section, The Lessons of the Holy Spirit, we are told one teaches wrongly when one teaches imperfection or focusing on errors in oneself or others. This is not how the Holy Spirit teaches. It sees that those who lack wisdom are like children. The Holy Spirit sees only the bad dreams of a child who has fallen asleep and who must be gently awoken from their nightmare. This involves telling the sleepy one that the dream is over and they are safe and well now. One is then trained to recognize the difference between being asleep and being awake. So one can learn to dispel troubling dreams when they arise and no longer confuse fantasy with reality.